And welcome back to another episode of Twisted Tuesday. I am Dr. Brock Johansen, and I am excited to give this video out to you guys today.
You sound like a news anchor.
I'm practicing my news anchor position for,
Not
CBS
CNN,
News.
no.
Not CNN.
We'll start our own.
No, I'm just getting comfortable because I love talking to you guys through the interwebs and discussing all this wonderful health and wellness and real life stuff that like makes a difference. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you see on Facebook or YouTube, and it's just entertaining stuff. But like the stuff we talk here is actually life changing, and that's what gets me excited to show up to work every day and to share this information with you. So today's Twisted Tuesday episode is always about listening to your wife. Why do I say that? It's because typically women are the first to look for help, especially when it comes to health. And men, we're stubborn and we don't want to admit that we're weak or that there's something wrong with us. So what we typically do is wait until something catastrophic happens to our body, and then we say, oh, maybe I should have done something about this, right? So oftentimes that I see in my office is the wife is dragging, the wife wants to find out if she's doing okay, but then reluctantly the husband is being dragged in by their arm, or their foot through the door just to get a test done or whatnot. So oftentimes men, you gotta listen, and you gotta get yourself checked out. Just like if you had a really nice sports car in your driveway, you'd be taking it to the mechanic to make sure that it was working properly, right? You wouldn't wait until the engine blew up to actually do something with your car there, right? So our bodies are the same thing. So I have a couple here that are looking to just see if their bodies are doing okay, right? They've gone the other routes and they were greatly disappointed with the other docs that they saw, and so they said, Dr. Johansen, what can you do different? And I said, well, let's do this different. And so they got some blood work done, and the wife was showing symptoms. The wife said, I feel like I have this, and this going on. And the husband was like, I got some lower back pain. And so he wasn't showing symptoms. And so that's why guys, we typically will ignore our bodies until something explodes. And typically what explodes is our heart or our brain. So either heart attack or stroke. So do you really want to wait for that moment to say I should have done something? Because oftentimes the first sign of heart attack is death. Okay, I don't say that to try to make light of it, but literally when it comes to heart attack and stroke, you don't get a second chance. So those that survive, they're very, very lucky. And oftentimes they're not the same afterwards, right? You've seen heart attack survivors and stroke survivors, their quality of life takes a hit. So again, husbands, if you have a wife nagging at you, listen to her and come in and get your blood drawn or get tests that you need done. And then when the tests come back and it says everything's okay, then you can stop listening to her. But in this case, the husband is 10 times worse than the wife. So the wife is literally saving her husband's life. And I get to have this great conversation with them coming up shortly. So let's take a look at the CDC website because they wrote up a really interesting article back in 2010, back when things were still pretty legit. And they talk about
Relatively.
the top 10 most common deaths in the U.S. And they say that up to 40% of annual deaths from each of the 5 leading U.S. causes are preventable. Okay, 40% of what people are dying of every year is preventable, which means you can avoid it if you just take the right steps, okay? And yeah, I understand people are jaded and they're upset with the medical system, and it's just a rat race and it costs a lot of money and you don't get much in return. So that's why I've opened up a Wellness Way, okay? It's very affordable and it's very direct, and you get information very quickly, okay? So yeah, I've had some pretty bad medical experiences in my life as well, but you can't let that stop you from being able to avoid 40% of the deaths that happen every year, okay? So let's look at some of these top 10 leading causes of death in the U.S. and let's see what the CDC says, what we can do to avoid them. All right, number one is heart disease or heart attacks. It says right down here. Heart disease risks include tobacco use. So people that are smoking, you can avoid heart attacks by stopping. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, poor diet, overweight, and a lack of physical activity. Okay? Now you may say, yeah, I've heard that all before, big deal. Yeah, we typically hear things often and then we choose to ignore them. But let me talk about these things that they mentioned, and I'm going to distinguish why the Wellness Way looks at this a little bit differently. All right, so based on the CDC, in order to avoid heart disease, you want to avoid tobacco use, which is awesome. Yes, that's true, because tobacco use is a toxin. And in the Wellness Way, we talk about avoiding the 3 T's that take health from us: traumas, toxins, and our thoughts. Okay, so right there they admit that tobacco smoke is a toxin, and I agree 100%. High blood pressure. High blood pressure is a symptom. It's not a condition, right? So when we have high blood pressure, that indicates that something deeper down is missing. And that's why we do our testing the way we do, because yeah, you can have a high number, but if you don't know what's causing it, you're just wasting your time. So no matter how much blood pressure medication they put you on, or how much Lasix or diuretics they put you on, those are all treating a symptom. They're not treating the condition, okay? So you're wasting a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of frustration taking beta blockers, blood pressure medications, and Lasix. It's just a waste of time. The heart is still under a lot of stress, and you're going to die of a heart attack anyways, even if you take those medications. All right, next one is high cholesterol. Again, high cholesterol is not a condition. It's a symptom. Your liver produces 90% of that cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, why is your liver producing all of that? Only 10% of it's controlled by diet. Okay? Again, major medical, they don't care, or they don't want to care, or they just don't want to teach you about why you have high cholesterol. It's not because you need a statin. Statins are garbage. They only, at the best percentage that their research has shown, is maybe a 1% effectiveness, which is basically nothing. Okay? So unfortunately, there are millions of people on a statin, which is a cholesterol-lowering drug. And again, it's not addressing why the liver is producing the cholesterol in the first place. Okay? So again, you're treating a symptom, and you're going to die of that anyways, because those medications are not helping. They're just pushing down a number that your body's trying to say, I'm sick. There's something wrong, and it's not because I'm taking a statin or not taking a statin. Okay? That's why people are dying of heart disease at an astronomical rate, because the treatment, the medical mind, is flawed. All right, the next one is type 2 diabetes. Yes, this is another symptom. It's not a condition, right? This is something that we acquire because of the way we treat our bodies. So type 2 diabetes is definitely avoidable, and it's definitely something that showed up in this guy's blood work. His sugar levels are out of control. He doesn't feel it yet, but soon enough, he's going to have to pay the consequences of living in an ignorant lifestyle, basically. You can't cheat your whole life and not expect your body to just fall apart in the end. And this is where this couple is pretty much at right now with their health. And I'm thankful that they're looking for answers, because we can, just like the CD says, 40% of them are preventable. So right now we're catching this guy, even though he's not showing symptoms, he does have signs. So physically he's not feeling the diseases that are developing in his body, but his blood work can and is showing you gotta change something, brother. Because this is you're gonna be one of these statistics. You're gonna be part of that number group on that chart if you don't change, and it's gonna happen very quickly if we don't change this guy's life. Okay. The next one, I'm gonna skip poor diet, because that's a condition. That is something that is making these symptoms appear. All right. So I'll come back. Being overweight. Weight gain is definitely a symptom. It's not a condition, okay? That's why people, they try to work out and they try to burn those calories faster than their body's trying to store it, okay? Again, it's a bad idea. It's a bad approach to weight loss. Working out and being active, it's just like taking a blood pressure medication, or it's just like taking insulin. You're just covering up a symptom. So if your body is putting on weight, it's definitely, there's a reason why, and it's not because of a lack of exercise in most cases. Now you may say, Dr. Johansen, that goes against everything that's being put out there in the public. And you're absolutely right. We have to go against everything that we think is right, because the statistics are showing that our approach is deathly wrong. So let me bring up some examples, because I don't like to just throw crap out there and just hope that you guys believe me. So who is this guy? That guy is the president of the American Heart Association. What is he recovering from? American Heart Association president, stable after heart attack. Okay. So you think the president of the organization that is solely responsible for studying and treating the heart, you would think he would never, ever, ever have a heart attack, right? So why is he? Based on their recommendations, he should never have a heart attack, but he did. The reason being is because they're looking at the heart in a wrong perspective. They're chasing numbers, and they're giving the prescriptions, the statins, the blood pressure, the Lasix, all of that is just wrong treatment again. And so there we go. There's an example that the president of the American Heart Association pretty much doesn't actually know what he's doing, because he's dying of the disease that his organization is established to prevent. Okay? One more example about exercise. Do you guys know who that is? The Biggest Loser trainer, Mr. Bob Harper. He had a heart attack at 51. And he had a type of heart attack that very, very, very few people actually survive.
Isn't it called the Widowmaker?
Yep. The nickname for this type of heart attack is called the Widowmaker, and it's the left anterior descending artery right here in the front of the heart. It's the main blood supply for the lower ventriculars. That's the part that squeezes real hard and pushes blood out into your body. His was blocked. So again, exercise, really.
And eating healthy.
Yep, and I'm sure he was eating healthy based on what he understands nutrition to be. And the kick in the crotch, really, is after he survived this very probable, like, no survival heart attack, he came out with a book that he's now trying to push that heart health actually comes from eating more carbohydrates, which is, in my opinion, is the worst advice you could give somebody, especially when it comes to heart disease. So again, kudos to him to try to promote something that he believes is healthy, but the truth is it's just more nonsense that is leading more people down the death road, okay? So again, he exercised his butt off. He had no fat on his body, so from the outside you would say, hey, Mr. Bob Harper, you must be in tip-top shape. But nope, his heart was still inflamed, still laying down cholesterol in his arteries, and he's still dying at the age of 51 of a heart attack. And then he turns out he survives, which thank God he did. I don't wish negative on anybody, right? But then he starts promoting a book that says you need to eat more sugar, more carbohydrates, which is, you know, the root cause of a lot of heart disease. So please don't listen to that. Please, okay? Even if he has great intentions, don't listen. All right. So anyways, again, today's Twisted Tuesday was to kind of poke fun of men and how stubborn we are, and that we typically wait until we die to do anything about anything. So don't base your health on the lack of symptoms. And listen to your wife, come in, just get tested, let your body do the speaking for you. We all have opinions on what we think we are, if we're healthy or not, but when it comes down to the labs, you can't deny it, right? And then based on the CDC, 40% of what we're dying with every year is preventable anyways, and especially the heart disease. These are all symptoms that I talked about. Again, poor diet, I would say, in all of these things that they mentioned is the root cause, and everything else is just the symptom of what we're doing. This is just a little bit of information that I'd like to share with you guys tonight. Hopefully provoke some emotion out of you to let you understand that what you're being fed in the news and in medical is garbage. It's really not great medicine, and we're paying the price for it, okay? So 40% of all these diseases that we're dying of is preventable. Let's look at things a different way. Come into the Wellness Way. Let me tell you a little bit more of what makes our approach so unique and what actually is a long-term solution for your health concerns, all right? So thank you for joining me again for another episode of Twisted Tuesdays. I will see you guys again next week. Happy Thanksgiving.